Okay. It has been a morning. I was ready at 8. Or just before 8. And then my YouTube said that I couldn't go live until after 8 because it hadn't been yet 24 hours yet. So then I waited, and then my phone wouldn't stay in the little thing, and then, oh man. And then when I did get it in, it hit this I don't know if anybody's had this. When some button got hit, and the screen went all black, and it hit like when you do something with a computer and you have those like 4 options, restart, whatever. Anyway, it was past few minutes have been fun. I was feeding Alpha and he got all cute, and so thought he wanted to join us today. He might go back in his home in a little bit, but so back in it with James. Oh, we just read through it. What are you doing? No, we just read through it yesterday. James 1. And then I had a few things I was supposed to look up. So, I don't know if you went and looked them up too, but I did. The dictionary version, or what the dictionary said for Hellenistic. It is relating to Greek history, language, and culture from the death of Alexander the Great to the defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony by Octavian in 31 BC. During this period, Greek culture flourished, spreading through the Mediterranean and into the Near East and Asia, and centering on Alexandria in Egypt and Paramum in Turkey. So it's the culture. So things relating to the culture and history and language of that time period. So when we were discussing who had written, and some people say that it wasn't James because it was too Hellenistic. They just mean basically like he was Jewish. He shouldn't know things because he was Jewish, I guess. Forget that he lived in probably near some Jews and they did talking. I feel like he's gonna jump off my back here. So, Hellenistic. There's that. And then I also was gonna look up the Apostolic Council, which was a council of apostles. Was held. Well, this says it was held. Okay, so I did too because Wikipedia came up with something, but I don't necessarily always trust Wikipedia. So it was a council held in Jerusalem. It is considered by Catholics and Orthodox to be a prototype and forerunner of the later Ecumenical councils and a key part of Christian ethics. The council decided that Gentile converts to Christianity were not obligated to keep most of the laws of Moses, including the rules concerning circumcision. The council did, however, retain prohibitions on eating blood, meat containing blood, the meat of animals not properly slain, and on fornication and idolatry. This is sometimes referred to as the apostolic decree or Jerusalem Quadral. People like giving long names and stuff. I think they think it makes them sound smart. Probably because everybody else sounds dumb. The Council of Jerusalem, it is described in Acts 15. So this is a different, so that was Wikipedia. This is from OxfordBiblicalStudies.com. I just wanted to, so that we just didn't have Wikipedia only. The Council of Jerusalem is described in Acts 15. So, Council of Jerusalem, or the Apostolic Council. Though it was presided over by James, brother of the Lord, and not himself one of the 12. The account in Acts was written much later than the event, which was probably held in 49 CE, and describes a far more temperate debate and harmonious discussion than would be gathered from the violent language used by Paul in Galatians. So it must have been mentioned in Galatians as well. The conflict was caused by the success of Paul's missions to the Gentiles, whom he received into the church by baptism without their first undergoing admission to Judaism by circumcision. Jewish Christians feared an influx of pagan converts who had never known the discipline of the law or the heritage of God's ancient people of Israel. It followed that for strict Jewish Christians it was not acceptable to share a common meal with an uncircumcised Gentile Christian. Although, to be sure, one important MS omits mention of the ban on eating flesh killed by strangulation. Yeah, so just a bit about the thing. I think it's kind of interesting. I think if their only concern was really like, their true concern had been that first bit, the Jewish Christians feared an influx of pagan converts who had never known the discipline of the law or the heritage of God's ancient people of Israel. Like, that's pretty fast. Like, we have to go back now and like look up the heritage and yeah, we don't have it. Whereas even I'm sure Jews today have more of a knowledge of their own heritage and have the discipline of following the law, which is something that possibly, I don't know today, but it was really true probably back then. They followed strict laws and had that discipline from it. So that's interesting. I don't think that was the only reason, but it is interesting. So, and then the other thing that, yeah, you're gonna jump. No jumping. The other thing I was going to be like kind of looking up, thinking more about was the question, why was this written? So then I asked my husband, and he went into youth leader mode. You already answered it this morning. I asked him last night. He said this morning. Who wrote it, or who did James write it to? And I was like, well, the Jewish Christians. Was that one church? No. What did he so it was to all of them. Like the leading questions of figure it out. I was like, I just wanted an answer. You're supposed to be my Google. So anyway, we kind of decided, I kind of decided after his leading, that it was just a general, it was written for general, here's how to Christian live. You Jewish people know how to live Jewishly, and here's here's a good example of Christian living now as well. So that's what we came up. We kind of came up there. So, whoop, yeah. You fallen? So, I have my, so now it's time to move on to part 2, comprehension. What does this say? So we're gonna, I have my printed copy. So sorry for it going so long yesterday. I'll try to keep it shorter so it's a little more, well, I don't know, we'll just see how I guess it goes. I don't want to like overwhelm myself or you, but yeah, so I have my printed copy of James 1, and then my husband said, look what I have for comparison. It's all 4 versions of these. So I have an astounding 5 versions of the Bible. The English Standard is the printed one that I have, and that's what I'll be making notes on and stuff. And then the big Bible here is the New International Version, King James Version, New American Standard, and Amplified. The loud version. So my dad uses. He likes it because it's loud. Okay, so I'll flip to James here real quick and then start looking at it. And today we'll just maybe go over marking things. It says to mark phrases or ideas that are repeated. Oh, I should maybe get different colored things. Okay. An attribute of God that is illustrated or celebrated several points in a row. Non-understood words. Oh, I should grab my dictionary too. Woof! My table's getting filled up. And concluding arguments and thoughts. So, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes in the dispersation. See, I'm just gonna mark this because, like, I know what it means because I memorized it in the NIV. Which here, let's go see the NIV version over here. Which is New International. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. Look, it starts the same. To the 12 tribes scattered among the nation. Easier. Why we make it so complicated, guys? Like, is there a big difference? I don't know, maybe somebody smarter can tell me that there's a big difference between dispersation rather than just scattered among the nations. New American Standard says to the 12 tribes who are dispersed abroad. And Amplified, the loud version, says to the 12 tribes scattered abroad among the Gentiles in the dispersation. They like fancy words too. And the King James Version says to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. So I'm just gonna, my English Standard Version, mark that word and just say scattered. Abroad. That makes more sense. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. think that that would be a... Well, no, it's not. Well, yeah, so it's a 4, so it's a concluding thought. So we meet trials of various kinds. It's a arrow over. You get steadfastness. And then other ones say, King James says, patience, your faith, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. And Loud Version says, it says a lot. It's very wordy, this Loud Version. It says, but be assured and understand that the trial and proving of your faith brings out endurance and steadfastness and patience. I think the others just kind of go with one of those. King James has patience, and American has endurance, and NIV has perseverance, and this has steadfastness. But no, for the Loud Version we have to have endurance, steadfastness, and patience. Missing the perseverance, but we've got it. That's funny. So, I mean, they all do mean a bit of different things, I guess, when you think about it. Patience is just kind of, it seems more waiting. I feel like steadfastness is more like standing your ground, which you have to have patience to be able to stand your ground, I think, too. But like, if you have some patience or more patience in your steadfastness, then you're able to handle your I don't know. They are different, like they are. They're related but different, I guess. I'm just going to add that on top of my steadfastness plus patience. And endurance. Because endurance is a little different than steadfastness, too. I guess I picture steadfastness more as like standing in one place and not moving. Like, you're steadfast. You're not going to, yeah. Which requires patience. And then endurance requires patience too, but you're more moving forward. You're enduring. Well, I guess endurance could be standing somewhere too and just letting things batter at you, but I guess I pictured it more as a movement forward one. Which steadfast could be too, but I don't know. Just the pictures in my head said steadfastness is standing. And in various trials, I guess you have to do various different things too. So you have to stand, you have to move forward. So those are my word pictures for that one. So I'm adding endurance and patience to my steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Yeah, the Loud Version, kind of liking it. It is pretty wordy for things, but yeah, they all kind of say the same thing, so that have its work, they may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Finish its works, you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. That's interesting. New International goes with mature instead of perfect. So that's pretty neat, I think. Mature instead of perfect. Paints a different picture too, but I don't know if we mark phrases or ideas that are repeated. I don't really think much is repeated there and into the next paragraph either. Maybe we'll just do the next paragraph and then we'll call that a day for today and then come back to it tomorrow as well. But I think these are all kind of like it's just a full set of that little paragraph of cause and effective. We're in the trials because that's what produces the steadfastness. If you don't have any trials, you don't have anything to produce steadfastness, and then you have to let that fully develop. Don't cut it off, and then you'll be perfect and complete, or mature and complete. Spell that. And then lacking in nothing. And then I do think it kind of like so wisdom letter, we're gonna now looking at it more like Proverbs, where it has like Proverbs has those chunks, of the Bible. This one's too big. Can I jump to Proverbs? There. I can jump to Proverbs in this one. I feel like Proverbs jumps quite a bit, like talking about one thing and then like talking about another and then ending it, like stuff like that. So it somewhat feel now that I can see that now in James. So we'll do the next paragraph, and those two go together fairly well. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. So where like Psalms has like 2 sentences, James kind of like makes it a little inflated, which is neat. It gives it more of a word picture, I think, than maybe, well, I know they're both word pictures. Yeah. So we'll go over here. We'll read the other versions of that ones too. King James, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, not wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind, and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It's also interesting how they break it up. It looks like King James, Amplified, American, and American all have it. Each verse is its own little paragraph, and then New International and English Standard have them in their own paragraph, like 2 to 8, which is the ones we're doing today, is a paragraph in New International. In English Standard, it's 2 to 4, and then 5 to 8 are 2 different paragraphs. I don't know if that makes any difference. Probably the English majors will be like, yeah, that makes a huge difference. But because they're then full ideas, I think, is what a paragraph is. This is an idea. This is the full idea. You know, you have the opening sentence, the ending sentence of your idea in a paragraph. Okay, so James, the Amplified, the loud version. If any of you is deficient in wisdom, let him ask of the giving God, who gives to everyone liberally and ungrudgingly, without reproaching or fault finding, and it will be given him. Only it must be in faith that he asks, with no wavering, no hesitating, no doubting. For the one who wavers, hesitates, doubts, is like the billowing surge out at sea, that is blown hither and thither, and tossed by the wind. For truly, let not such a person imagine that he will receive anything he asks for from the Lord. For being as he is a man of two minds, hesitating, dubious, irascible, he is unstable and unreliable and uncertain about everything he thinks, feels, and decides. So these, and the Amplified, it has these little, not the round ones, the squarey ones. So that's what I'm doing there. I think it's like clarification, like making sure you know who you're talking about things. Okay, New American. But if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it will be given to him. But he must ask in faith without any doubting, for the one who doubts is like the surf of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For that man ought not to expect that he will receive anything from the Lord, being a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. And then NIV, if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. It's all pretty similar there. I think we'll maybe do some more marking tomorrow. I forgot that different colors would help, so I should get some highlighters and stuff. And then maybe we'll also go over the commentary, because I know I said yesterday I'll have the commentary today, but forgot I wasn't going to church yesterday. So I'll have the commentary today because I'm going in today. So we'll read that then too, the commentary on maybe that first section, and maybe move on to the next section. But there we go. We're going to go over and read the James 1 through 8 is what we did this morning, going through it and just reading it in a bunch of different versions and seeing the differences in the different versions. And then also like marking kind of what was repeated. I don't think there's really much that's repeated in James. Kind of like that. I don't like repeaters. But so just kind of seeing that and then marking those, seeing what it says, and yeah, we'll move on tomorrow. I don't think there's much else we're going to do today. So, yeah, we'll probably just take it, I think I'll take it paragraph by paragraph for the next few times. So, have a good day.